Folks, let's give a really big welcome to Robin O'Neill.
Hi. When FEAT called and asked me to present tonight, I immediately said yes. I hung up the phone and had flashbacks to university seminars, standing up, trying to speak, my mind totally blank as I stared into a wall of faces, waiting to be rescued or called off stage by a professor. In more recent years, I've tried everything, including libation lubrication, and all have had failed results. Somehow, I completely disregarded my all-consuming fear of public speaking and said yes to speaking to you tonight. It seems to be a compulsion of mine to say yes. My desire for challenge, adventure, and exposure to as many different experiences as possible seems to far outweigh the pull of my fears, real or imagined. My instinct is to say yes and then figure out the details afterward. All of these yes answers have led to the most incredible career in telling stories through images. I've had the opportunity to probe deeply into natural environments and cultures, both locally and internationally, while surrounded by like-minded mountain lovers and adventure-obsessed athletes. It all started while I was working as a photo administrator and getting very little opportunity to shoot stills. When I did get to shoot anything, it was really mundane and very uncreative. The question started to nudge at me. Could I do it? Could I go out on my own? Could I turn down this steady paycheck, which in Whistler can be a super rare find? And I decided to go for it, to become a freelance adventure and lifestyle photographer. Around tax season, I got some unsolicited advice from an accountant. Had I run the numbers on this, he asked. He strongly advised against it, but I didn't listen. Maybe it was naive, or maybe I just don't see obstacles the same way other people do. Saying yes without hesitation has led to the most successful career experiences of my life. My very first photo competition, for example, was a very high-profile, invite-only event called the Arc'teryx Deep Winter Photo Challenge, in which 6 photographers compete to shoot and edit a slideshow of skiing or snowboarding within the same 72-hour period. When the token female contestant bowed out, I was approached to fill the spot immediately. And instantly, I said yes. On the surface, this was insane. I had no experience shooting skiing, I had no athlete connections, and no secret locations for fresh snow or features to hit. I had never created a slideshow of any kind, and it was to be presented live to an audience of 2,000 people, up against the best photographers in the field. This was very stressful. This was not a rational choice based on weighing out facts and avoiding risk. This was a gut yes decision. Having thrown myself into a high-stakes situation, I had no choice but to give it everything I had. And despite my inexperience, the slideshow was a huge success. I had surpassed everyone's expectations, including my own. The next season, I found myself in the deep summer competition, working with pro athletes for the first time. But now it was biking rather than skiing, so I again found myself delving into something new under high-pressure circumstances. I was now working with some top pros, and they were accustomed to working with well-known photographers. My habit of unreservedly saying yes had now led me to a situation where I was not only risking my own career, but I was also risking the reputation of athletes whose career hinges on how they're depicted. With the expectation built up from my surprise success in the winter, the pressure compounded even more. Getting in over my head has only ever made me work harder and faster than I ever thought possible, and at this point, the prospect of failure was much scarier than any amount of hard work. I managed to win the event and to win the next deep winter afterward. After having learned the ins and outs of ski and bike photography, there was still no shortage of unfamiliar territory. As an action sports photographer, there will always be activity or environment that I've never shot before, and each new subject comes with it its own set of risks and challenges. A senior photographer for SBC Surf called one day and asked me to cover a surf assignment in Tofino. And I asked, you know I've never shot surfing, right? And he said, well, he liked my style. And I said, all right. And I said, yes. In the end, it was one of the best photographic experiences, and I found a lot of similarities between surfing and skiing. The necessity for long boat rides, or in the case of skiing, long skins to get to where the goods are. There is seasickness for one and frozen feet for the other. The athletes share the same singular focus, regardless of physical discomfort. There is the same patience for discovering the perfect wave or snowfall. Finding these connections, I was able to orient myself and create success in an intimidating and unfamiliar environment. If you can see some shots behind me that don't look like Canada, they're from Africa Yoga Project. I was invited last year to go to Kenya as a volunteer to document their work. My instinctive yes had me flying to the slums of Nairobi despite a Canadian travel advisory due to security issues. At the outset, it was puzzling how could yoga be the answer to any problem in the slums. I had spent some time in Africa in the 90s, and I was curious. There's no sports due to a lack of infrastructure and no public school after the 6th grade. So there's a backlog of young people with excessive energy and a shortage of work. The project empowers the youth through yoga teacher training, offering a safe community and skill that they can earn money by teaching to others. Another quick yes led me to one of my most inspiring and enlightening adventures and resulted in some of my favorite images. I'm often asked what it's like to be a woman breaking into the male-dominated industry of action sports photography. My answer, becoming a well-respected player in this field is a challenging pursuit for anyone regardless of gender. Anybody working in such a competitive profession has their own tough climb. And unbeknownst to most, my hands are extremely susceptible to cold weather, which has probably caused me more grief than anything even remotely gender-related. There's no special category for putting up with that, so I wouldn't want any for just being female. I try to push past all the snags and just do my work and hope that it resonates with the people who see it. My goal is simply to create images that are undeniable despite anyone's expectations. I'm most proud when my work stands on its own. After hearing this, you might assume that every risk I've ever taken is paid off, but that's not the case. My excitement for new opportunity will always prevail over my hesitation. I let my instinct guide my decision until mere milliseconds after the moment of commitment, and then I let the fear rush in. Feelings of inferiority and unpreparedness take hold as I realize what I've gotten myself into. But it is in managing these emotions and doing it anyway that I have found the greatest success. When I can push past the fear and uncertainty, I am free to take on the opportunities that will fulfill me, make me grow, ski another line, see another forest, meet someone with a story to tell, explore the world with my camera, whatever the outcome. That's it.
Good job, Robin. Now the question. How long is this leash? Get back. Robin, your photography is amazing. I've looked on her website. It's absolutely stunning. Is there any particular assignment that you've done or something that you've shot that stands out as being maybe quite memorable, or if so, why?
Sorry, that's a really tough question because I feel like they all stand out. There's nothing that stands out more than one another right now.
Okay, I'll take that. Like, I'll take the heat off you because I got another question. I know we only had to ask one, but I've got another one. There's often a lot of us, myself included, who don't say yes. We often say no, or we give ourselves reasons why we say no. What one piece of advice or maybe suggestion of a step someone might take to overcome that, or that if you're always saying no to stuff, you obviously say yes to a lot of stuff. Any advice you could give someone?
Stop thinking too much.
Fair enough. Let's hear it for Robin O'Neill.